Hey, Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
Okay, we're back with real life opinions with our 50th episodes. Who thought we'd make it this far, guys?
Together or
No, this is the 50th.
Yeah, but
Laura, you've been around probably. I think you came around in the 10th.
around episode 10, yeah.
Around episode 10, and I think you came right around episode 17, Mike. So
What was it? Yeah, it's about
17,
Killer...
18. They it was top 5 horror villains.
Yeah, that was my first one, whichever number that was.
Yeah, so
No, that was his second one. He did one before that with us.
I'm pretty sure that was his first one.
No, he did.
I know I was supposed to do one, but I couldn't make it, and I was disappointed. And I remember listening to that one, and I don't remember which one it is offhand.
That's
and then it was
the way
Totally Killer.
No,
were supposed to-
Totally Killer was after our top 5.
it was
Yeah.
after our top, and I'm sure you did one before that because it was your first one in, and you were really, really nervous. And top 5, you brought your list
Yes.
because I'm sure it was in
I
September,
won you over with my list.
right? Because I'm sure his first one was in September.
We could probably Google this easy enough because it's listed on our list. Corey's not here for the 50th.
What the hell? And he's
What?
not responding either.
You know, that reminds me of that song by... what's his
How
name?
You Remind Me by Nickelback.
No, I was thinking of... oh, shoot.
Never
He was
again.
in Demolition Man, the tall guy that was the Underworld. Super famous comedian. Dennis Leary. You're an asshole.
That's a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
That's a favorite of mine. That's a karaoke go-to. Anybody that knows me in real life knows that.
That he always sings that song.
But not always. I actually very seldom bring it out anymore. But, like, when I get
Okay, but when was the last time I was actually able to go to karaoke without somebody blowing up my phone?
Well,
your job sucks, Laura.
My job sucks.
I hate to say it. Jeff is right.
My job sucks.
No, top 5 horror villains was my first one. Then I missed House on Haunted Hill.
That's
I wanted
right.
to be that one. That was the one I missed. And then we did Totally Killer. So
And then we did 13 Ghosts.
nope, that was before.
Yeah, Totally Killer was right before Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we did Trick or Treat on Halloween.
That's right.
So technically, I was episode 19, skip 20, 21. So let's go 20, average it out.
Yeah.
So I'm 30 episodes in. So just off there. So.
Well, I've missed a couple, so I guess I'm not 50 for 50, but...
Well,
Oh, I've definitely missed a couple. Who hasn't?
But, so since it's our 50th, we're doing a special movie that totally goes with our theme. RRR?
Hindi. RRR Hindi.
RRR Hindi. Yeah, I don't know how this ended up being our 50th movie. Can you guys explain how?
I can explain exactly how.
Mike
I
said-
said it months ago or a month or so ago.
Well,
I
you-
really wanted to do this movie, and then I was bitching and complaining because you want to live in the nostalgic past, and I believe that's why Jeff suggested let's throw a bone to Mike and we'll do something.
Yeah, you get a bone every now and again, Mike.
We should have done a party movie and done like Animal House. Just saying.
You know what? We've had enough of those movies.
Right.
We've had enough of those movies.
This one is a good change.
Can you two just continue on for half a second without me?
Yes. So
I'm counting half a second. 1 sec. Okay.
So we're doing RRR, and I knew it stood for something, but do you know what it stands for?
Rise, Worm, or Bolt.
Yep. Yeah, and I was trying to remember what that was.
Right?
And it's hard to see. And technically, this is a Lollywood movie.
It's not a Bollywood, it's a Lollywood?
No,
Okay.
there's a dozen different woods. They're all different regions of India.
Okay.
So there's Bollywood and Lollywood and several other versions I found out.
That is new to me.
Yeah.
With dealing with movies as long as I have, I always thought it was just Bollywood.
I thought so too. And it was like, there was a lot of reasons why I shouldn't have liked this movie. but none of them got in the way. And the fact that I watched it with subtitles was the biggest reason why I shouldn't have liked it. But what I found is I didn't need them. The story is so well told visually, I didn't need those words. And I think Jeff experienced how I directed when I talk about things, how I'm a visual person. If you can tell a story without words, that is an amazing thing. And that's what this did for me.
See, and for me, I'm more of the type that my imagination has to be able to take me away with it. So I tend to watch a lot of movies without actually watching them.
Yeah, see,
I'm back again here, guys. I wanted to just interject saying I both like a visual movie, but some of my favorite movies are heavy dialogue driven as well. Like I kind of flip flop. You know, if I'm gonna go to the theater or something like that, I'd love a movie like this where there's lots of action, lots of visual stuff going on. Right? So subs or dubs? What's your guys' preference in watching foreign movies?
If I have to watch one that's subtitled versus dubbed, I will watch a subtitled any day because dubbing, the words are never exact.
What about
I
you?
hate subtitles because I'm dyslexic, and by the time I'm done reading and deciphering things, I've lost half the scene. So now, and that's what I was saying earlier, this movie didn't require me to really read that. It told the story visually. And we want a balance, of course. Oh, sorry, yeah, you...
There is a pretty good balance of visual storytelling in this. Like, a lot of this movie is storytelling, or visual storytelling, which is why it works, actually, for a foreign audience. Did you guys ever watch, and I'm not saying it as a person that watched it, the only Bollywood movie I can think of that ever did good was Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Is that one you guys ever watched?
Yeah, I watched it.
I never did. I meant to. I just never got around to it.
That's one of the ones that I always wanted to watch. And maybe we'll have to put it on our list just because, the Bollywood stuff, and this movie's victim of it every now and again. It puts a little bit of it in there. So, like the end dance.
That's the middle dance. That's an hour and 3/4 into the movie.
I loved the middle dance.
I did. You mean the credit dance at the end?
The credit dance.
Oh, okay, that's credit stuff. I walk out at that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I completely missed that because it's like I said, I'm more imaginative over visual.
We're watching the scene right now where the two friends save the little kid on the boat, and I fucking love this scene. With the horse and the motorbike, where the two friends decide they're going to work together.
They're not friends.
Yeah, they've never met each other.
They've never met each other. I was going to go back. I was going to ask if we could go back and thoughts on that opening sequence. And kind of keep things chronological, then we don't have to.
Okay. We'll jump back to this.
Yeah.
So where the little girl gets kidnapped?
The opening exposition that is slow, but it makes sense later on.
See, and that opening portion I thought would have had a lot more to do with this movie than it actually does.
Yeah,
because that's not his sister. So like it's some random girl, right?
It's not. Okay, so
that's his sister that's in the beginning.
Is that his sister?
Yes.
Okay.
In the beginning,
so it
that's
does
his
tie in, but.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently I have to leave to give a little girl a hug and a kiss.
Okay, so we'll talk with Laura. Your opening thoughts. Like you said, that first sequence
really has absolutely nothing pertaining to this movie.
In the sense that if you took Indiana Jones out of the movie would have ended up just the same?
No. So, with the little girl, like she's sitting there, she's doing the Hindi art on the hand. They get praise. They trick her, give her the coins, and buy her.
Yeah.
But, so that whole part, like, they kidnap her, and it's just, like, it stops right there. It's like...
Because that's the catalyst for the beast guy.
But it has absolutely nothing, really, to do with the rest of the movie.
She's the reason why the guy... I mean, I see what you're saying.
You don't really figure that out until, like, the third act.
And that's fine for me. Like it's like what's his name? Quentin Tarantino does that. You get 3/4 of the way through a movie. What does any of this have to do?
But Tarantino's movies, like crap. Which one was it?
Pulp?
No, not Pulp Fiction. The apocalyptic ones. It's got Rose McGowan and all of them.
Oh,
the Death Proof?
Yes.
Oh,
those movies sucked balls.
Nobody's a perfect director except for Nolan.
Planet Terror was Robert Rodriguez, and Death Proof was Quentin Tarantino. And, for what they were, I actually enjoyed those movies.
Right, so...
But I saw them in the theater, and that's what they're designed to be. They're designed to be a double feature movie in the theater, right?
Yeah, they were meant for theatrical, not disc.
And Planet Terror was purposely terrible.
Right? But if you look at that one, too, any movie that's actually done in Tarantino's production company or whatever actually states not a production of, or not a Tarantino movie. It's just a production of.
Yeah.
So, but those movies, those are bad. I can't compare, but I cannot compare those two to this one.
Well, no, but I mean Tarantino's, Pulp Fiction type stuff.
But I like Pulp Fiction.
So do I. but it's still the same thing. None of it makes sense until you get 3/4 way through. Right?
And even then, sometimes you have to watch them 3-4 times.
Exactly.
I do not see me watching this one again.
And that's fine.
Guys, we have a young fan that has a request. Can you say loudly into the speaker your request? You can tell it's at my house tonight because we had lots of interruption from my family. James, what's your request? Loudly so the speaker can hear you.
So, I was wondering, if you still do this in 2025, could you maybe do the Mario movie on March 10th, aka Mario Day?
On Mario Day?
Yeah.
I make no promises, but I will go with the flow.
So you know what? You know what, James? I'll tell you what. Because you've known me a real long time, right?
Yeah.
How about right before March, you remind me? Because how good is my memory?
Yeah, if you remind us right before March next year, we promise on Mario Day we'll do the Mario movie.
And you're young enough.
It's a golden clad promise now.
Right? And you're young enough that you'll remember that I made you that promise that you had to remind me.
Okay.
Sound good? Shake on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't buy me with cuteness, James.
But see here's my thing. James isn't buying me with cuteness. James has known me for, ever. And every once in a while, you just got to bend to him. So.
Okay.
I have a month that we have talked about, a cartoon month. So that
March.
might happen much to... And Mike, you can do your heavy metal or cool world, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a kid's cartoon.
Or that could be the month I'm off. I don't know.
It's like I'm
do we
totally
have to dedicate whole months to something?
Let's
just do it. Let's just do a week.
I am totally down for doing a cartoon month as long as I get to watch Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Anyway, you didn't care for the opening segment.
No, I did not.
Okay. I really liked it after the fact because it sets up a real personality, a dimension to this little girl. She wins over the Americans, the lower level Americans, other than the one bitch. But she wins them over with her songs and she helps them out. And I thought it was a nice element to to set up that she's a good person. She comes from a good family. And I liked that.
I didn't like the opening sequence. I retroly liked it. Like I retroly liked it in the story, but like when I first watched it, I don't know. It didn't grab me at all. Like it was trying too hard to be emotionally grabbing. And sometimes when a movie tries too hard, sometimes the movie's got to let the audience come to you, and it forced that emotionalism into you, and it, instead of getting the reaction out of me that it was intending, it made it kind of off-putting.
Have you?
And that's maybe more has to do with the style of movie, because I'm not this movie's target audience. Right?
I know. Well, it wants you to be. Not saying that you are, but you don't watch a lot of Bollywood, do you? Or
no.
Bollywood or Hindi.
Nope.
And I think part of my recognition is I recognize that they are over the top with a lot of things, and that's all their productions, or at least not all of them, but especially these action flicks. They go for that. I recognize that. So.
I was hoping for an over the top action movie, or I could have been with like a good drama war movie. This thing kind of, it was. That's about that's one of the issues I've got with it, is it tries too hard to straddle that line. Like, oh, it's a really emotional feeling, but then it's got like some
really great action.
Crazy tiger fights. Like it's
see, and I respect where Jeff's coming from on that one, because let's talk a Bollywood movie. Life of Pi.
Is that a Bollywood movie though?
Oh my god, that was a drama. So slow. I could not. Right? It could not pull me in.
But that is one that actually drew my attention.
Yeah. I thought Life of Pi was an American production, and I think we should Google that.
It probably is an American production, but the whole, the way it's filmed.
I think it was a Bollywood with American producer.
Probably.
What I think. Yeah.
I think it's a Canadian book, if I'm not mistaken. Life of Pi. I do believe Canadian book. I could be wrong about the book's origin, but
no. I don't know. I never read the book, but like you said, I'm very imaginative. Like that's how it always works with me. And this is just not one that.
And that's actually a kind of a broad scoped word. Imagination comes in many forms.
It does.
And because the visuals, my imagination is off the charts visually.
Right. So visually, yeah.
Audio, I'm good. It's the reading part.
Right. So if we want to go back to the beginning a little bit here, guys, before we get too chronological, what did you guys think of the introduction of each character? Because that was another point of the movie where I was just their initial individual introductions didn't do very much.
I thought they were amazing because they established they didn't know each other. They established their strength. They established their emotional core, where they come from, why they're doing stuff. We know that the one has tenacity, has endurance. He will push. He will not stop. The other one, we know he has strength and he fights for nature and country. And they gave a lot of information out of these characters.
This might also be a not for me kind of movie, because it was hard for me to realize when, after it got past the first scene and the two introductions, then you met the characters in the story, in the actual story, and then I started enjoying it. But it was hard to tell. There was such a jarring difference between those two characters in their introductions as to them when the story actually began.
Which I loved, and I agreed, because to that same note, when I first saw it, I loved the introduction of these polarizing people. And then when they come together, I didn't recognize the one guy at all.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him at all, and that's what I love, because we saw them at their extremes. Now this is when they're not. Mm-hmm. I would prefer to not have recognized the other one either. But I instinctively see him, and I think he's a Hindi John Belushi. Just my mind, he has that similar physical features.
Have a bit of a Hindi John Belushi about him. I will give him that.
But
and when the story progresses, now that I know who they are, that does make more sense. And I do enjoy a movie that comes back to the beginning generally. But this movie was so long, I had to split it up in two viewings, and it really, I really didn't like it until it actually got into the real story. And then once it got into the real story, like that rescue on the bridge, I tried talking about it earlier. Yeah. I love that. Right? And this friendship between them two, about how the one's like his big brother.
Yeah.
I love that.
I shouldn't have liked so much of this, but I didn't. Just my heart liked it, and my heart said, "Shut up, brain! Just fucking love this and stop crying," And it's like you say, this
James, it's bedtime.
The connection they made was I thought it was like just such a cool progression, And then, like you say, one becomes that older brother. The naivety and that energy, that light, which is weird because he's the thick, stocky guy, and he's got so much, life and pop, and he falls in love with the American girl, and the other one is so reserved and pulled back, and oh man.
And I don't know. It's if I could have gotten into it all, like looking at it that way, it probably would have been different, but there was too much. It tried too hard for me. To me, it tried too hard.
Where this movie tried too hard.
I would disagree with that statement, but I understand why you might believe that.
I feel like this movie didn't accept what it was, and I think if it would have accepted what it was a little bit more, I think it would have been better.
I think if you've watched more Bollywood and Hindi, you might have understood that that's the style of it, possibly.
Well,
because that's what I took it as. Because the everything's just it's a little amped up. We're not Supermen here, but we're everything's
the
amped
one
up.
Guy is like by the end of the movie, he's a Hindu god.
He is not Superman. He is Mowgli rebelling against the Man Village.
The song literally calls him a Hindu god.
Yes, I know. But that's by the end of the movie. But right now, he's Mowgli rebelling against the Man Village.
And I almost thought that maybe that's who he was. Like almost this earthly form discovering his godlike whatever. And I thought that little end scene was like, is that what he is? Did he just transcend?
Yeah. What do you guys like of meeting the English girl?
Oh, I loved it.
You loved with the
spikes?
spikes?
It's such a humanity thing. It was such a
everybody's got
awkward.
Spikes in their back pocket.
He didn't have them in his back pocket, though. He got on the back of their motorbike, and as they were driving by the one vendor, he scooped a bunch.
Oh, okay. I didn't see where he got them from. I guess he threw them.
So you made an assumption there.
Right. I didn't see it. And I watched the scene twice, and I didn't pick it up either.
And we have to state at this point, too. Okay, so the guy that scoops them is a cop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
he knows.
He knows what he's doing, but he also just committed a felony. Mm-hmm. So
I do really love once they get to the castle. I really shouldn't like the scene because they get into the Bollywood dancing, and there's he's trying to help his buddy out, get the girl and everything like that, and it's kind of cheesy and cliche, but I actually really love it.
I shouldn't love it. Everything I am that I've yacked about and bitched about says Mike's gonna hate this scene, but the way they did it was so. It's a dance off in the middle of a movie. Literally, it's a dance off, and
I guess I'm waiting for Star-Lord to come by, dance off.
Right. This was a good dance off, and it lasted. It's got to last, I think, in real time, 20 minutes.
It's a long dance.
They pushed the limits, which I don't mind. I know a lot of people. Oh, the scenes were too long, or this or that in other movies, and it kept me engaged because every moment there was either an emotional elevation, or a physical elevation, or another what do they call that? Risk, or another element of.
I think. Laura, mistake me if I'm incorrect, but I think you're like me.
Wait, hey, what was that again?
Correct
you if you're wrong. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Listen to what I mean to say, not what I actually say.
Yeah.
This is what I do, not what I am.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm a 2-hour movie guy. There's the odd movie I can go 2.5 hours, but 3-hour movies don't really a lot of times, and it's got to be a special movie,
right?
Special movie.
See, I agree with you on that one, but for me, because I don't think a lot.
Was this one too long for you too?
This one was too long for me. You and I were talking throughout it, and there were several times that I got up and walked away and just left it playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the type of person I am. I need to be able to get up and move while having it play.
Okay, I guess notice this scene here that after watching the movie it was some foreshadowing with them riding on each other's backs. I didn't pick that up the first time because I forgot about this scene. Nice, it again. It ties back to the fact
It's you carry me and I'll carry you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I don't have a time limit on movie because every movie's going to dictate whether I can handle it. There's movies I can't handle half an hour of.
Yeah.
But if the movie is engaging to me, I'll sit there for 3-4 hours. Easy.
And I understand where you're coming from on that one too, because there are some movies, and they can be 3-4 hours, that if it catches me, that's it. It's caught me. And I will watch it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, where'd the time go?
It's got to be a special movie.
It does.
Like the most 3-hour movies, I guess if this movie could have cut even a half hour out, which I feel like it could have, because there was some stuff that could have been trimmed down.
I don't know if I could agree with that, but and it says 10 years ago, if you would have asked me that 3-hour movies are going to be getting into the standard and 4-hour movies or whatever, I would have said I can't fucking deal with that. Mm-hmm. But again, movies like this one and a couple others have changed my mind in the sense you want to keep me engaged. If it's good, if it's good to me, then yeah. Because oh man, my bladder was busted after this one because I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave it. It just pulled me in. Now, I just wanted to jump in. We're just passing the scene, the dance, and you could see where the one character notices how much he's in love with his brother, for lack of a better term, and wants to show up for his girl, and he throws it. He throws the dance off. Mm-hmm. And I have a new respect for the energy and the lung power, capacity, and the strength to have to do a dance like that.
They can do that.
Yeah, I know. And it's absolutely fantastic.
I'd be curious who these two actors are in a Bollywood perspective, because I feel at least the lead here. Yeah. I feel like he's a major star.
He's actually been in quite a bit.
And there's actually the one who plays, I think he played his dad or a mentor or something. The scene where we find out when he was young with the bullet type thing. Mm-hmm. His dad has been in a lot of North American stuff.
Oh, really?
And of course we all know
his dad did look familiar.
Yeah, and we all know Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson? Stevens? No, who is it?
Stevenson.
Is that what it is? Yeah. We all know the.
I didn't realize that was Ray Stevenson.
I didn't either until later. It says, "Oh, he was Punisher in the last Punisher." What? No way. It wasn't until he was in Ahsoka, right? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah.
So Ram Charan is who you're talking about for the lead guy.
Yeah.
And he actually started, the earliest one that IMDb is showing is 1988.
Oh wow! So he's old. He doesn't look old.
No.
It's like the guy from Eternals who doesn't age, and he's a Bollywood movie star. But we got to take a short break here, guys. So we'll be right back.
And we're back. Welcome. We're all refreshed and ready to go. The coffee's done. We've all emptied our bladders. We're just about at the poisoning scene.
We are at the poisoning scene.
I have expected a good morning Vietnam.
That's somebody else. Somebody else does that incredibly well. Why would I want to do that?
Well, he used to do that incredibly well.
Yeah, he doesn't anymore.
Yes. Okay, this movie's going to make me cry. That's going to make me cry. Anyway.
So he's interrogating the one guy, and he's so brutal, the one friend here. Like, so I guess we haven't told the audience really yet. The names escape me in this movie just because
they're different language, so they're difficult.
Yeah, there's a language problem, but there's one friend from the village who is secretly a terrorist, and another friend.
I don't like that term because you said it with negativity.
He is secretly a
terrorist. Are you a terrorist if you're terrorizing Nazis?
So
if you're
like if you're terrorizing bad people, are you still a terrorist, or are you a freedom fighter?
So
that's what I mean.
So freedom fighter and terrorist are the same thing.
No, but they're not. So based on when this movie, the era that it was perceived in, he's not a terrorist. He's a freedom fighter, and they are two different things.
No, the difference between a freedom fighter and a terrorist is the person who's writing the newspaper article. That is it.
See, that is totally Western philosophy.
And this is why media has got us fucked. Perception is everything.
Exactly. Like, yeah, he's a freedom fighter. He's also a terrorist. It depends who writes the news article.
It does. But if you're looking at it from their perspective, from the Hindi perspective, at this point in time, it's a freedom fighter thing. At this point, England is invading.
Okay, so one is a freedom fighter from a jungle village. The other one is, at this point, we think he's a cop in the British military at this point in the story.
Yes.
The one is not a freedom fighter from the wilderness. He's trying to rescue his daughter or his sister.
Okay.
That's all he's trying to do.
He does a terrorist act to do it.
Okay, he does.
You mean later on.
Yes, later on he does do it. So
that
I can see.
This part of the movie, we have no idea.
In this part of the movie, he's Hindu John Belushi.
What we call that is he's telegraphing his ideas and emotions.
But I was trying to establish who the characters were, so for the audience.
So we have one, and I'm going to refer to them as the older brother and the younger brother.
Okay.
Because it's easier to do that. Here's your terrorist act coming up here.
Yeah, I do.
See, but okay.
And I roll my eyes.
Is this a terrorist act, or is this just releasing all the animals in the zoo?
Yes, he's releasing. He's freeing the animals.
It's terrible CGI. Like terrible CGI with the animals, but like it's also a badass scene with him holding the two torches and coming out.
Now
the rest of this is kind of like whatever until the older brother shows up.
Right now,
we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
But I do have to point out really quick. I don't know what world they're living in, if any world, because when you put predator and prey in the same area and you release them, they're not going to turn and attack the humans together. Just saying.
Well, I agree. So basically, we got one that's trying to. The older brother is trying to secure weapons to fight against the English.
We don't know that yet at this point.
Yes, but he's trying to secure weapons to free India from the English.
And the other
one is trying to rescue his sister
by creating giant.
Well, no. You do what you got to do to save your family, right? What would you do to save James? Become a terrorist? Or would you
I don't think I would go to a zoo.
Sorry,
change all the animals and then. Like, if I could pull off that cool torch move...
You would!
But see, I totally see Jeff as being more the whole Liam Neeson character in Taken. Right with the whole deep voice, he's going to threaten them menacingly, and then he'll stick somebody else on them.
This isn't the younger brother's daughter. This is the younger brother's sister.
That's what
I wouldn't do this for my sister.
Well, you want to get dark? I can get dark here. So anyway, we got these two people from two worlds, and they befriend each other, and they don't realize that the older brother is actually hunting him, and he doesn't realize it's him that he's looking for. He's looking for this magical man that has strength, that is part of this village or whatever, and I can't remember exactly how to put that. And then
this is the dumb fun I was looking for in this movie. Like the beginning, it was so dry and trying to be this dramatic thing that was just like, ugh. The older brother riding in on the fucking stagecoach on fire and just walks off like a badass. It's cheesy, yet it's so much fucking fun. Just like, what are you doing? And this is right after the younger brother saved his life.
But yeah, and this is where the older brother realizes who he is. Mm-hmm. And it's his job to arrest him, because if he arrests him, he gets accommodations. Then he gets to be in charge of the weapons. Then he can save his... That's the arc he's going for. Now, they don't play this off as cheesy. And it works for me in that sense.
But this part's not cheesy. But like
the previous part. The part they don't play it off as cheesy. Not to me. They're playing it honestly in a world.
That's some of the problem with this movie. There's stuff that's like, there's some cheesiness they need to embrace. That's clearly in this movie.
They're embracing the natural essence of what Bollywood does. Everything is wire work. The wire work in this is as good as most. Yeah. I mean, we've seen the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's as good as wire work gets, but it's still that's physically impossible. They're lingering too long and blah blah blah.
Some wire work, most wire work doesn't work.
Not for me in general, but my mind, and every time they do a wire work thing in here, it's like. But then I go right back in because now we have this power emotion thing. Sitting here watching brother against brother, and there's a beautiful scene just coming up right now, and I love how they layer this in. So, I mean, they're two different. They fight differently. They have different aspects, and we're about to see the opposites, literally.
One skill and tenacity, and the other one's raw strength, right?
Yes.
Like that.
Basically, that is a good example of it. I mean, and every haymaker lands, and a little blood in the corner of the mouth, and this is movies and action things, but they got great choreography. I feel like that's good stuff.
The choreography is pretty good for what this movie is. I
think it's good. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like the movie, that's fine, but the choreography, I think, is pretty solid.
Well, like he gets through him and he went like flying. I guess that's
wire work stuff we were talking.
But the wire work is part of choreography, right?
It is. Now here's the part I loved.
Did you like this part, Laura?
This was the whole Mortal Kombat thing that I was talking about.
Oh my god, I want to hear that in the background, just like Mortal Kombat.
Right? But like,
I love the fire and water.
See, and that's just it. Is you got fire and water, and then like they clash, and then you get the whole one fist on fire and one fist is enveloped in water, and it's like, holy shit, it's Mortal Kombat. Like
it did have a reminiscence of that.
This is where the movie started to really get me. Like the scene on the bridge, I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
And then there was some stuff after there where it's like, oh, okay, Though I did enjoy the dancing.
So my question to you then, and just
okay, this was really, 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 really bad CGI.
Pretty bad CGI on the roof.
Again, I mean, it was good enough to tell the story. If you, it's bad if you broke out of your watching it and said, "Oh, that's bad," but I was engaged into the story, and I never thought about it till the second time.
And that's fine, right?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the story's going to be yours or it's not, and there's nothing we can do or anybody can do about that.
No, because we're all going to have stories that attract us or catch our attentions, and they're not all going to be the same.
It's really shocking to me that they chose that the older brother, who has been shown this whole movie to go to full lengths the whole time, he's the one that holds back on the younger brother.
Yeah. And
the younger brother is shown to be the compassionate one.
And he's going full bore.
Yeah, he's the one that doesn't stop on the older brother.
And I love that. It breaks my heart. Like I'm getting goosebumps when you talk about that dynamic, that trading of the emotionals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I do have to ask at this point, because we are at the point where we're back with like Queen Bitch and King Asshole here. Yeah. Are they actually supposed to portray the King and Queen at this point, or is he just...
I think they're just high-ranking...
decided he's going to wear the royal robe
of the English.
I don't think it ever explicitly says who they are.
It's the fact that he comes out wearing like the royal cape and everything. It's like, so what exactly are you? Because nobody besides nobody besides the king or queen would have worn anything
there's
like
mortal
that.
Finish her!
Mortal Kombat!
I love that visual too. It's one might think it's a little hokey or whatever, but I think the symbolism of it was really strong to me.
Some of the symbolism here is
in your face.
Yeah, it's really in your face.
Smack! I got a bloody nose from that symbol.
I wonder what they mean. Fire and ice, fire and water. Oh.
I mean, they didn't have to do that, and I would have loved it as much. The fact that one grabbed the water and the other, that was enough. They didn't need to do that scene, but...
No, they did. Every time they did something like that, you could tell that, okay, you're going to the next act. But that was really over the top for me. Like,
turning
mainly
into the
that.
fire in the ice hands?
No, yeah, kind of. But, it's just like the way that they transitioned between everything. They could have done it more smoothly than...
Or subtly.
Yeah, like They don't need to do such extreme.
You know what I just realized? We've spent way too much time talking about this movie and not other stuff.
Let's keep going with that because I could go on. So now we get to hear his real backstory. The older brothers now. So the older brother got to.
But I want to have some weird wacky sideline where we talk about what's going on.
I'm trying very hard to keep us on track here because I love this movie that much. This one here, we got to learn more about the younger brother. Now we get to learn more about the history of the older brother. The older brother just arrested his friend, returned him. Now he got accommodation. Now he gets to
now
control.
He's finally in control.
Now he gets to help free his people.
So is this supposed to be like an older version of him?
This is a flashback, and we get to see
the little boy.
That little boy is him.
Oh, okay.
You don't know it yet, though.
This part, this is one of the parts that actually lost me. Because it's like, okay, new story. Like,
I love that bullet thing that they had. This bullet is not worth a waste on, and then we come right back to that. Sorry.
This is a movie that you have to watch twice.
Otherwise, you got to have the attention of a.
Yeah, you either got to have.
There's a lot of subtleties and nuances.
Well, there's a lot of going back. I don't know if there's a lot of subtlety in this movie.
I agree. I wouldn't say subtlety per se.
There's a lot of in-depth storytelling that you got to look for.
Yeah, but I mean, they do a lot of things that you don't recognize the value of until after. Mm-hmm. So, and I was thinking that as subtlety and nuance, but it's not really. It's right there.
Do we know the historical accuracy or
this is the
reference?
Appropriate timeline.
Yeah,
but that's about it. I don't think they're trying to be.
I don't know the history of the English occupation in India to know what's accurate in this.
That's vaguely right. England controlled it, and then they rebelled, and then they got their freedom and took back. But I think that's all it is. I mean, it says at the very beginning that this takes place at that time, and it's not meant to be anything else. But.
Well, I'd be curious to know the time frame because this looks right around. Like I'd say this is the 20s.
I believe that's somewhere in there.
The 20s.
Are you Googling this now?
I am.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think. It's somewhere in the. It might be as much as the 30s, but it's right in that early zone.
No, well,
so actually, you're both wrong.
That's not surprising.
I was going to correct myself because
sure you were. Yeah, I was going to correct myself.
Well, before she says the answer, so in Temple of Doom, the English occupation is still going on, and that's set just before World War II. So this would probably be in the late 30s.
Well, I said that, so I was wrong.
So, actually, the Indian Rebellion of 1857 is the British government took over the administration to establish the British Raj.
Yeah.
But they have
Hang on. The British Raj was the period of British Parliament rule on the Indian subcontinent between 1858 and 1947 for around 89 years of British occupation.
So it was the late 40s.
It was the late 40s.
Yeah. So I was trying to think about the cars because some of the cars started getting the fuller bodies, but they certainly weren't the 50s styles, but they had more fuller bodies and they used older ones.
Doesn't that make you feel terrible that that was that recent of a history?
It does. And
there's people living in India that they're old, but not crazy old, that lived through this.
There's people in Germany that are still dreaming of Hitler, that loved Hitler, you know what I mean? And it's just like, they're really old. But.
Well, it was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago was when they arrested the last...
the last war crime from there.
Yeah. And that was down in the States.
Yeah.
That the last war crime was arrested. And this man, he was in his 90s when they arrested him. And it's he's dying. Leave him alone. They're
probably going to put him in a nice little restaurant.
Nope. Actually, they put him on death row.
Wait, why? Why bother?
Because it's still seen as a war crime and...
You know, it's a war crime because of who writes the headlines. It's the same thing with the freedom fighter versus terrorist thing. Like it's
So he probably wouldn't have been put into that state and would have been put into a nice nursing home if he did not admit to his war crimes and the fact that he was part of the death camps.
Oh, but that's terrible that he was part of the death.
See, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think you did the crime, and these are heinous crimes. These aren't just I stole a gum drop.
But how we don't talk about the crimes with Canada and the Japanese internment camps, do we?
No.
Well, that's not what I'm talking. We're not talking about that. We're talking about arresting somebody who's admitted to crimes and was convicted. We're not talking about chasing somebody or starting something up.
Well, but
if somebody came in and admitted to doing Japanese internment camps, we let him go.
We had Japanese internment camps, but we won.
Mm-hmm.
We're not bad guys.
You're changing the topic of argument. No, I'm talking about an individual.
But see, I understand where Jeff's coming from too, because if you're looking at it from an individual standpoint, even looking at it that way. Now, as an individual, are some of them directly responsible for the crimes? Yes and no.
Correct. Oh, I agree. Depends on the person.
It does depend on the person.
Are you a guard or did you inject it?
And were you following the orders because you were afraid of death?
Yeah.
Or because that's what you believed in?
My complaint is more of, well, it's a crime because of who's making the rules at that time.
Yes.
That's my complaint.
You said he admitted to it.
He did.
And if whatever he admitted to was heinous enough for death row, why should he go free?
See,
that's the only argument I have.
There's a lot of stuff that has been heinously done in the name of freedom and stuff that will never, ever get a conviction because of...
But that's a different argument, which I would probably agree with.
Well, I'm not arguing that he shouldn't be on death row. I guess it.
That's what it sounded like.
But here's the thing with all of that too. Like, you take these older people, and I have sympathy for them, because you take these older people. They're ripped from their homes. They're sick. They're hooked up to IVs. They're in wheelchairs. You throw them into court. They're being put on death row. They have 3-4 years to live. And
what's the point of the only argument against death row is because he's 90. Why bother?
Right.
Like, that's the only thing there.
But even there, it's not even my argument on that one. Is he admitted to his crimes? Yes. He also apologized for his crimes because he was doing as he was told.
And that's another argument which I could probably get on your side about too.
Right?
Like, I went off the bat. You said he admitted to it and that he was that, and that's all the information I had.
Right?
If he was,
but that's where Jeff's argument of this is what's reported, so this is what we go based on, because the news is not going to tell you all of that.
Well,
I'm not making an argument.
But that's speculative argument, and we can't argue that. If he did what he agreed that he did, then then he should be punished appropriately. Yes. Just because you're 90 doesn't mean you should get leniency.
Right. And
theoretically,
hey, you know what? We're in Canada and we're being punished now for things that happened way before we were born.
Yeah.
That's an inaccurate statement.
Not fully.
It was some of the stuff that I had this talk with my dad about that stuff. He's like, "Oh, that was before I was born." I was like, "No, it wasn't, Dad." Like, a lot of the stuff that's going on right now is a lot more recent than we like to think it is.
Right. Oh, the residential schools, definitely. I mean, the last one closed down while I was in junior high.
Yeah.
But some of the other things that happened, that is way before me. And
well, yeah, you shouldn't have to buy the granddaughter of someone whose stereo was stolen by your grandfather a new stereo, right? Like there's that argument.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But the stuff with the residential schools, yeah, I think we should apologize for it. Was I part of it? No, but it should still be apologized for.
Does apologizing change it or make reparations?
Well, okay.
It starts. It's a start, but it doesn't fully change everything.
I can agree that it's a start, but
it's acknowledging it is the first step to making things better. And I'm not going to say right, because you can never make it right. It's happened. It's done. But there's a better place to go, and we got to start with acknowledging it and educating it.
Yes.
Some of the acknowledgement feels so
superficial.
Yes.
Oh, a lot of it feels really superficial,
and it makes me throw up in my mouth when you hear some of it. And it's like,
Welcome to the new world.
Yeah, but all we're doing it's a guilt thing, not make better thing.
Right? And I fully agree with that because it's like, and I hate talking about politicians. Everybody knows I hate talking about politicians, but you have all of these leaders standing up and they're reading a handwritten script by somebody else, and the words are not even their own.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all scripted, it's all whatever, and it's all to manipulate the emotions, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And we're sitting here fighting over who's the lesser evil to vote for.
Man is evil. Period. That? Man is evil. Period.
Well, so that's anyway. Anyway, back to the there you go.
Back to the
movie. Alicia was valuable.
So 1946, eh? That's what.
Yes.
Yeah. So did we?
So World War II was going on, eh?
World War II would have just
started in 37. The U.S. entered in 41, and it was over by 40. I want to say 45.
Yeah, this would be right after the war, then I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are making me remember my history, and it's like not working right now.
3 points to remember. It started in 37. U.S. entered in 41, and I believe it was done at 45. Might be 46.
So it officially ended in 1945, but not everything was written and signed off on until 46.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would imagine this movie's before the end of the English occupation, so there's a good chance this is happening right in the middle of World War II.
Yeah, that's what I would say, yeah.
It'd be a speculative guess, yeah. Because, we're not even touching the U.S. Yeah. And
it's refreshing to watch a movie that's not all about what U.S. did.
I know.
I do appreciate that. Yeah. And, there's some real history in this movie. We were trying to distinguish what was accurate or not. And there's a lot of... The story itself, I would imagine, is totally inaccurate. But maybe these are folklore heroes in India.
They're a lot of times they'll take real or legitimate folk heroes or stories and put them into whatever, But I mean, this is the town whipping. It's such a. This reminds me, the biggest jarring outtake from this movie for me is that bitch. She is so evil. It's like.
He's not screaming yet. Try this one.
Yes, and then she brought the one with spikes just in case. But
the message here is so blatant and in your face, though. I get it. He's supposed to be conflicted, but the one with the ball and the spikes, I don't know. That's just. She's already an evil bitch. Why do you?
Oh, her. I mean, her done it. Yeah. No, I think it's. You've heard me use the term kick the cat or save the cat. I mean, she's fucking skinning the cat. She's fucking... she's doing everything she can to that cat. I mean, yes, we get it. You're the villain.
Yeah, exactly.
You're more the villain than he is, than your husband.
Yeah,
I mean, and he's a villain, too.
You don't have to prove it to us anymore, right? We get it.
But, in my sense, I was so... just the pain I was going through feeling for the older brother, and this miscommunication. The younger brother is now believes that he's not.
You still don't know at this time his motivation either. The older brother. It's still
no, you don't. You don't.
So you have such a hard time. Is he?
Oh, I love that too. Did you catch that?
Where he's trying to make him kneel,
so he can stop.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's trying. Oh, he barely cried out loud.
But he didn't.
We get it. We get it, lady. I don't think he can kneel. The way his arms are, I don't think he can kneel.
Oh, he can. Yeah. He just needs to and it's.
Oh, the endearing Indian spirit is what that is, right? This is if this was American, it would be the indominant American spirit. That's the indominant Indian spirit. This is a propaganda movie in a lot of senses, right?
I don't know. I'd have to hear the definition of propaganda, but to me, it's this is how they see themselves, the Indians, and this is their perception, and it's one of the most recent ones. I get tired of. You could do anything if you internally believe in it and strong enough. You could recover from broken bones and broken back. Blah 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 blah.
This you can recover from a black mamba bite, apparently.
Well, he took him to the medicine guy and gave medicine or whatever. Because that's another thing he does. He's the medicine guy. He knows the herbologist stuff, which is another wonderful thing. So, but it's, I love that. I love that. It's just my strength. That's my strength. He just like Aquaman in water. It's the nature. Right? The nature. I've been touched by nature, and I see myself.
I do like the one's a cop and the other one's a herbologist. I like that yin and yang dynamic, right? This song, I understand why the song's in there,
but it feels very misplaced.
No, I don't think it feels misplaced, actually. Like, to me. Maybe for you, but to me... but I don't understand the significance of the song, right?
The sun that gives me strength and all that other stuff is what he's talking about, right?
I feel like if I was of the culture, there would be a bigger significance.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. I would think so, too.
Oh my God, that's so brutal with the whip.
Yeah. And I don't view this in my mind, like some people are thinking of this as a musical type thing, but in my mind, this is him in his head. This is just the song resonating, and because he's physically doing it, but they
acknowledge this is really happening, though, because he says this is what brings him to, like, fight for the people. He's just like...
No, does somebody say, hey, he's singing? Like, does anybody else?
Yeah, the brother does.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He says, if he could inspire the people with just his song, then maybe there's a better way. He acknowledges this.
And that's fair enough. But that's still the song of your soul. The song of your. It could be that symbolic idea too. Mm-hmm. But I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? That the movie acknowledges that he's really singing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It addresses it, but not in a definitive way.
So I do have a question at this point, though, because you're answering it because we're at the beating, right? They're trying to make him kneel.
Yes.
Why are they racking him?
Because they're beyond that now.
Because it's a Jesus metaphor.
Yeah, that's probably, or whatever the Hindu version is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because a song could be symbolic to other things other than a literal song.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's not, nobody said, why is he singing? What are you singing about? They said your song can inspire. The song of the heart, the song of the soul. It can be interpreted.
I think you missed the part where they say it's a real song. But we got to take a quick break here, guys.
Yeah.
Dracula, seriously?
Yeah.
No! That has nothing to pertain to this movie. Mowgli, maybe. Tarzan, sure.
The audience isn't going to be confused at all by that statement.
Right? Not at all.
If they've seen it, they'll totally get it. You mentioned that, it's like, yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Right? They would have Mortal Kombat, maybe.
Hey, so the younger brother is in jail, about to be executed, right?
No, the older brother is in jail.
You're back in the first.
Yeah, no.
We've switched roles again.
Yeah, no, because the younger brother was going to kill the older brother and didn't, and now the older brother, right?
Well, those of us.
That's what I want to talk about, right? Because the audience weren't there for that.
Okay. So he doesn't do the Indiana shoot the rope thing.
Yeah, did anybody else think he was going to shoot the rope? Because I thought for sure he was shooting the rope.
No,
I never once thought of that.
They established that he's a good sharpshooter, and they do he took that shot from the hill, and then here's
You're not wrong to have thought that.
No,
but I didn't feel it.
I think.
I didn't think it.
I think what it was, especially if they're driving up, he's watching him in the car. You knew he was going to sabotage the road some way and try to get there first. To get to the guards, but it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. When he rescues the sister, when the older brother rescues the sister, and it looks like he's about to put the bullet, and the younger
he's
brother...
chasing behind her, defending her from all his cop buddies.
Yeah, because he shoots that one sharpshooter behind the younger brother.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I know you teared up, Mike. Me too. Because that was...
And I can honestly say that is the one part of the movie that actually caught me because I thought the younger brother actually killed him.
Oh, yeah, with the big stick.
The spiky stick. And the angle they misled us to think he had. And it's just like, the heart, but that would have, they could have ended it there, and that would have hurt, but it would have been a profound hurt, because he never would have known that his brother was there defending, and then if he were to have found out later by meeting his wife, how heartbroken would he have been? Oh man, wouldn't that? But I'm glad they didn't stop it there.
It breaks my heart when he meets his wife.
Yeah,
because he's left them for dead and everything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, not a terrorist. They're not terrorists at all, eh? Like, it's just...
Not back then.
Okay, but he actually wasn't going to do the whole suicide bomber thing until...
He literally just did the suicide bomber thing.
Well, he was dying anyway. He was shot.
That's still a suicide bomber.
No, you're dying anyway, so you might as well go out with a bang.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it's...
We're making connections now, but yeah, I mean, like you say, freedom fighter and terrorists must have some sort of a value between why you're doing it. Unless you want to take away any emotional value and just use it as a word with no emotional connotation, then sure.
The problem that people don't realize is that most terrorists in their mind have a reason.
I mean, Hitler believed he was the right person for the...
How did we end up back up on this conversation?
Well, because the suicide bomber.
Oh, yeah.
Just can't let things go.
Well,
no. He's a suicide bomber.
And that was much later.
But my thing is he's not a suicide bomber because he was already dying.
Oh, so we're at the point here where the wife of the older brother is telling the story to the younger brother. And, oh, man...
Well, no,
this hurts.
Is she telling it to the younger brother or is she telling it to the sister?
To the sister.
Well, yeah. And he's listening to the story. But he realizes who she's talking about.
We have a nice little scene earlier in the movie when his older brother was helping him and he noticed the little trinket.
Mm-hmm.
And now we go back and he sees the same trinket. Oh, it looks like the same trinket. And then we will soon find out how that became to be. Because when he had left his wife, he had broken this piece in half, and they each took half. And now the younger brother's heart is breaking.
Well, no, now he's pledging, his loyalty.
Yeah.
It's, I do love it. This movie, I didn't like it as much as I normally do, but a lot of movies that tie stuff back together like this, I normally really enjoy that. And once again, probably because this movie's not made for me. Look at this James Bond shit, eh?
You couldn't James Bond with that?
Well, I was thinking, when I first watched it, I wanted to hear, I was playing the Mission Impossible theme in my head.
He goes to James Bond and I go to Indiana Jones.
There's a lot of Indiana Jones in this
movie. The time period is more closer to the Indiana Jones.
But, even with all of that, I compared it to a lot of different movies and a lot of different things, but because this had the whole, and it's a World War II movie. It's about the runner, the Olympic runner that ends up in the Japanese jail.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
I do not know what movie you're referencing.
It was actually produced by my least favorite actress.
Who's your least favorite actress?
Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
No.
Right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I put her on my list too. I think that fits.
I do love. So we're at the younger brother breaking the older brother out after the heartbreaking wife story.
Yeah.
And I do love this pounding. Like they knew they'd recognize each other from this.
Yeah.
And the older brother, at this point this is when he's finally given up, right?
Yeah.
He had not given up.
Yeah.
And now he's in that confined solitary.
Yeah.
His legs are broken.
He's lost the guns. He's lost everything he's fought for. He lost his brother. Lost everything.
Are his legs broken? Because it's kind of
I
legs aren't working, and then all of a sudden...
I don't mean broken literally. I mean, he's a broken man.
Right. Well, see, his legs are kind of broken because he's stuck in a cell where he can't stand up. Which brings to the point of why are they sitting there pounding, and how the hell did he hear it through the earth like that when he's literally this far, like an inch or two, away from the top, and he could just put his hand out.
Well, then maybe they could have seen his hand come out.
And you're not going to see somebody army crawling across the ground with no coverage pounding on it?
You don't know when the light's coming. I mean, it's like we're both rationalizing it to work for or against what we want it to.
I mean, the movie's got a movie, right? I didn't see him army crawling. When I seen this scene with the door flying off, I'm like, oh, well, of course the guards are going to see it. If the guards don't see that. And the guards do see it.
So I was concerned with that, too, when I first saw that. But now it's just like, now they're one.
Oh no, now they've merged as one.
It's like, what's this, like Power Rangers or Dino Riders?
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, but at this point here, where the older brother is actually on the shoulders, when he hooks his legs back, you can actually see the pain in his face from doing it. Now, that's not saying that his legs are broken, maybe asleep.
They could be just beating the shit out of them.
Right.
When
atrophies and whatever.
When the movie decides to be like this, I love it for the dumb fun. Just like he's fucking riding on
you have to at this point.
Out people.
They break certain rules here because you'll notice the one drawback, and I didn't notice it the first time because I was in it. Mm-hmm. The second time I watched it, I realized he's got these guns in their lever action. And he would reach down, his brother would lever action, and then he'd come back up and he'd shoot 10 times. And then another time they'd lever action, shoot, lever action, shoot. It's like, at what point did they become magical automatic? But, that's movie.
Yeah, but him doing all this on his shoulders, that's not the part you have problem with.
That's not intended to feel real, because we all know that's not real.
And neither is the guns.
Well, I know,
but I understand that, because that drives me nuts. It's like watching a movie with a 6-shooter, and you're counting how many times they fire, and you're like, there's no physical way. You just fired that gun 13 times.
Guns are mechanical and bound by our brains as what we know as mechanical. So, and if you've been around guns as much as I have, you get it.
When they do the flip on the tower hut here,
how do they not fall off?
Yeah, exactly. The inertia from the top one, they're gone.
Right? But they are doing some. No, they're already on the tower. But right, they are doing some severe juggler acrobats here.
I can get behind when a movie does that. I really can.
I mean, they set up this that it's slightly fantastical. Mm-hmm. It's not like Marvel fantastical or DC fantastical. We are just a bit more. We're super strong, but not ridiculously strong.
See, the problem is when they try too hard into the drama, and then this, it's not a great contrast. I don't mind a fantastical movie having good drama, but it's too much of a.
It sounds a lot like having, it's too funny and drama together. It just doesn't work when they do. That sounds a lot like somebody else used to bitch about something like that. It just, I can't remember where that's from.
Sorry, I just
rubbing off on me.
I mean, I see.
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like I cut Laura off, so that's.
Oh no! When he was, bringing up who it was and everything, what actually popped out of my mouth was you. So
you think that I can
No, not you. You.
That was the point. Right? Yeah. So I mean, this is we'll get into the whole what genre is it, but comedy is not going to be one we're going to dip into. Right?
Well,
is that a fair statement?
If you watch this stuff out of context, there's some pretty funny stuff in here.
Okay,
if I was to show somebody that scene where he's riding on the shoulders,
there might be some comedy.
But we're actually
intentional comedy to some people.
But we're actually gonna have to, go down and figure out what you guys figure is just in a video store, because if we're going based off of me, I'm not going to put this in anything. It's foreign. Like,
foreign film.
Right.
That's a legitimate candidate for it.
Right.
Didn't you guys have a foreign
We
film
did.
section?
But I mean, on that note, and I've always said it from the very beginning, you and Corey have made up your imaginary world of reality. Every
imaginary world
Wow.
of reality.
Because every video store is going to have a different section of a different type. We're not bound by Blockbuster's rules or whatever.
Okay, but here is standard for video stores. And this is standard through all of them. You have comedy, you've got action, you've got sci-fi, you got horror, you got kids and family, you have foreign.
And then you have a bunch of other that each individual store will add on their own.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, not to complain about this movie, but like, why the fuck are his legs are okay? Like,
Because
did you not see all the urologist stuff that he was making?
He wrapped them with leaves, and now they're all better.
Do you ignore this stuff intentionally to cause grief?
And this part where he shot the flaming arrow literally screamed to me Mowgli rebelling against the man village.
This is some of the best visuals I've seen in movies.
You know what's missing from this part, though, because that's literally what it screamed to me, was Shere Khan with his tail on fire.
Yeah.
This reminds me of 1997 CGI stuff, some of this. Like, some of the visuals really good, but like, the arrow going through the fire reminds me of like 1997 Tarzan with that terrible CGI.
Which Tarzan is that?
If it's probably one you didn't see, because it wasn't.
Well, I've seen pretty much all of them, probably.
It was the 1997
Greystoke, which one?
It was called Tarzan.
You were stuck on that year. There's a 97 Tarzan that you saw, and that's the one.
I'm pretty sure it was 97.
But it
was in your video store.
It was.
1997.
I know exactly which one he's talking about.
Might have been
Investigating Tarzan?
No, it was literally called Tarzan.
There was Greystoke, the Legend of Tarzan.
There's Tarzan the Moon Man.
Maybe it was the Legend of Tarzan.
The Return of Tarzan. These are all the 97 Tarzan movies that are going on.
In 97?
Well, there's Investigating Tarzan. And then if I go down...
Tarzan of Greystoke was not 97.
I didn't say it was Greystoke. I asked if it was Greystoke.
Oh,
that was,
it's not.
Oh, yeah. No, clearly not. You're watching...
I want to say Casper Van Dies was it. Yeah. I don't know.
But I thought some of these are great visuals.
Some of it is, and some of it's very terrible as well.
I don't think any of them are terrible. I don't think any of them were terrible.
You're wrong, but
you're wrong.
Respect your opinion.
Whatever.
So you're talking Tarzan and the Lost City.
Oh yes.
And it came out in 98, not 97.
But still,
that's interesting.
So I was off by 1 year. But like the terrible CGI with the arrow going through.
Terrible CGI.
Well, see,
yeah. That was.
Do you think that was CGI? Do you think it couldn't have been?
Arrow going through the fire was obviously CGI.
Okay,
is this a great visual with him holding up the?
You just want to pick apart to prove yourself right.
Well, this is where the whole God complex comes in.
Yeah.
Right now, I can say this as a Canadian. I'm going to totally bash myself, but you know what? Hindi movies are way better than Canadian films. So
I hate to agree with you. Well, I don't hate to, actually. We do it a lot. But in this case, I'm disappointed that I have to agree with you. Right? But I mean, that's what this style is about. Extreme, without, to one person it may seem absurd, but it's extreme. It's that flamboyant greatness of the style that they want to go for.
See, yeah, and
I all I'm saying is that oh, this is an amazing visual. There's amazing visuals in that scene, but you also have to.
I don't think there's bad.
You have to objectively look at some of the bad visuals that are in there, because there if you objectively. You take out the subjective and you look at it objectively, and you have to admit, okay, there's a scene or two in there.
I objectively say there are scenes that are not top notch.
Okay, see,
but
yes, exactly.
you have to point out the scene and break down that scene that's objectively bad.
Okay, I'm gonna point one out then.
Sure.
Because and I don't care what the movie's about, there's no physical way that you're shooting a freaking cannon into the forest that's that thick and knowing exactly where somebody is to fire a cannon.
Oh, I agree, but that's the movie. That's what we do.
I have issues with that. I have issues.
Every movie in the world,
so many issues with that.
I'll agree with Mike on this. Movie's got a movie.
That is not a movie's got a movie.
Look at these absurd extreme situations. You know, do not watch this movie, folks, if you're looking for a reality grounded base historical piece.
The queen bitch is dead.
Yes, the queen bitch is dead.
Oh, wrapped in the barbed wire.
Serves her right.
Yeah.
With her Hindi tattoo still on her hand, which wouldn't.
I wonder if this is supposed to be symbolism to how the mighty India warriors have beaten and tied up the British oppressors.
You'd have to know more about that,
right? Because if you're looking at it that way, not even so much if you're looking at it that way. If we're looking at it based on the era when this movie was made, and we're looking at it as the Indy Rebellion, this could be how they perceived it for sure.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with, like, America does it all the time. So I'm okay with another movie doing it. It annoys me when America does it, so I will be just as annoyed when
everybody else does it, right?
But I actually really enjoy the fresh take. The load, aim, shoot, right?
And I think that's a translation thing. I mean, we would never say shoot. You know, it's fire or something else. But I like the fact that this bullet is valuable. Let him hold it close to his heart, which is the better part of that line.
And it's the whole blood splattering on the crown thing. It's like...
I still don't like how his legs magically healed. But that happens in movies.
He's wearing the leaves with the Indian flag. He's good.
I hate that these four guys magically shoot beams out of their backpacks to control a ghost. I hate it's just not real.
Okay, that was physics.
It's not real. You can't cross the beams, man.
That's because it's protons.
It's a movie
So you're trying to justify what this thing does in story, and then criticizing another movie
for what it does in story.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing. I'm being sarcastic. No, exactly what I'm doing. You guys love the Ghostbusters for what it does, for what it sets up, for the world it creates. You're condemning this for the same exact reasons. It sets it up.
I don't think you remember my rankings of Ghostbusters that well.
I might be thinking more of Corey on this. But,
if you guys think I love
but
Ghostbusters.
you're still both pro.
So, guys, let's say you can't put it in foreign movies. Laura, where does this belong in the movie theater?
I can't put it in foreign?
Can't put it in foreign.
Musical?
I
wouldn't say there's not enough of that.
I'm with Mike. I don't know if I'd put it there either, but that is...
I mean, you can put it wherever the hell you want, but there's two songs that are within the movie, or within the story.
There was more than two.
There was...
There was the one where he sang in the courtyard, and the one they did the dance off. Was there another one where they sang within the movie story?
This one is kind of in the story.
No, it's not. They're all alive and they're all healthy. They're all dressed different.
There's the sister singing at the beginning. There's the sister singing when he goes and finds her. There's the courtyard. There's the hanging. There's the
song. Somebody singing in a movie doesn't
still
make
makes it a musical. No, that makes it a freaking musical. Just because they're dancing does not make it a musical. That's like watching.
So 3 weddings and a funeral? Is that it?
Mike, this isn't where you're putting it in the movie.
Exactly.
Store. I'm not. It's where Laura's putting it in the movie store.
Because I wouldn't find it as I do not find it as a comedy or an action. An action would hold my attention. I didn't find that. Okay. So I'm going to randomly put it somewhere, and that's going to be musical.
Mike, where would you put it in the movie store?
I look at this, and without answering your question, it's an action adventure in my mind. Simple as that.
It's not a war drama?
not enough into the war. This is pre-war or peripheral to war.
This whole movie is like an Indian uprising revolt war, though, right?
No.
That's the whole premise of the movie.
No, the movie is a setup so they can start the war. They have not started the war. But the whole movie was him trying to get control so they could start a rebellion.
There's the right word, because you're saying war, but they weren't trying to start a war. They were trying to start a rebellion.
No, they didn't want war. Yeah. It was probably going to happen anyway. But so this is one of the interesting things I found about this. We just went through 3 hours, and this guy was the whole time is only now capable to start the rebellion. And that's the interesting part about it. And I love that. So
I do feel like in the end, what he really needed was support from the younger brother. I feel like, man, if we worked together, we could do this. That's what I felt like.
Well, that's a great idea or feeling with that. But it's not a war movie. Is it action and adventure? Are those two separate groups?
No, you can group them together like we always did.
It is definitely it actually balances so heavily between drama and action.
I think we've kind of established that we just have an action, we don't have adventure. Like those two can't be separated. It can be an action movie, but it can be an action adventure, but it can't be just.
It's going to be heavier on one side than it is on the other.
Yeah,
So
I would struggle I'd have to put it at action. I'd have to, just on an edge. But I felt the drama and the action were balanced very, very evenly. Is what I would do.
All right.
Jeff?
What about you, Jeff?
Where would I put it?
Yes. You can't put it in porn.
No, you're just telling me.
Yeah, you didn't have a porn section, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't. I did.
Anyway.
To me, one of the things that I have a problem with this movie is that it's trying to be a drama and it's also trying to be an over-the-top action. And I'm okay with drama in my action movies, and I'm okay with some action in my vice versa. And it almost tries too hard to be one or the other. And some movies can pull it off. There was some stuff in this that didn't pull it off so great. Some of it that did pull off really good. Oh, it's tough not to put it in drama because there is, like, the drama is kind of the core of it, right? Like the relationship between the brothers. But the action is just so in your face that the action's hard not to put it in there. Like, it's actually a really tough choice for me to pick drama or action, to be honest. Guess because of the overwhelming nature of the action, I think it's going there. But it could easily fall into drama for me. So after we get back from this, guys, we're going to talk about our final thoughts on RRR.
Is that it?